Thank you. Oh, everybody calm down. Thank you so much. It is me, Simply Super Dave, coming at you with another episode of Staying Super with yours truly on a hump day, Wednesday. I learned how to spell Wednesday by saying it that way in grade school. Wednesday. And then I need to really watch that series on Netflix. I don't know why I haven't. I saw the clip of the dance scene, and I was like, well, that pulled me in right away. Plus, Tim Burton, anything he does is pretty much still just, he's an iconic director. Batman. That's all I got to say. Batman. I am Batman. Anyway, yeah, it is hump day. It is Wednesday. I'm sitting here watching things defrost from the night. The sun is kind of breaking through the clouds this morning, so it looks like it's going to be a sunny day. But it did get below 32 last night, so everything kind of froze over here in the boot. Yeah, that's right, coming from the great state of Louisiana. Really enjoyed doing the podcast this past week so far. I'm trying to figure out kind of a rhythm of what I want to do. I really love Wednesdays for one reason only. It's the middle of the week. It's the least expected day of the week, you know. It's like you're celebrating because you're halfway through the week. And I totally get that. I think that's why I love it so much. It's in the middle. And if you've heard my point of views on a lot of things right now, you're starting to figure out that I don't lean usually one side to the other. One of my favorite shows, and I think they did a Marvel cartoon episode on Disney Plus about this, but The Watcher. I love his mythology about him, you know, how he doesn't interfere, but of course the story about him would be him interfering with it, you know. But anyway, that's comics for you. Always exploring the unimaginable, you know, and make it in it unimaginable, and seeing the movie universe take the turn. I know I get film critics and old school film fans and all that kind of stuff. I get that, and their criticism of superhero movies and all that, but I couldn't have asked for it to be done any better other than having all their heroes under contract when they began their universe in Marvel. But for what they had at the beginning and what they did with it to make it all work, introducing the multiverse and then allowing all those past stories. I mean, it's just a sheer genius in creation, all within itself. Kevin Feige is a damn genius. And Jon Favreau has so much credit from me. This is the Blockbuster manager talking to you, Dave. By the way, I'm telling you, I love movies. I was raised in front of a TV, you know, and HBO. I was watching a movie last night, and Mrs. Simply Super Dave laughed at me as I was watching this movie. It was called The Man with Two Brains, a Steve Martin classic. And Steve Martin, by the way, is one of the funniest men ever to walk the planet, in my opinion. And still alive today, so he's a national treasure, really is. He moved right up there after Betty White passed away. He would appreciate that joke. Him and Martin Short are a comedy classic. The Three Amigos with Chevy Chase. I mean, come on. A Father of the Bride. The Jerk. Dear God, The Jerk. I mean, that movie. Trendsetters. Really, he hates these cans. Such a great movie. If you haven't seen Nathan Davis, oh my God, he's in the phone book. He is somebody. I mean, that movie really, as a child watching that, yeah. You can tell you, I could tell you right now, I'm very uncensored with my thoughts, but I'm really trying to keep it more professional as I do this podcast, because I realize if I want to get somewhere, I just cannot be completely uncensored. But I will have those live rants, and I will let that go. But for now, you're getting the tame side of the Simply Super Dave, only to introduce you into the world before I go all savage on you, or medieval as they call it. Pulp Fiction reference, of course, one of the greatest movies ever to be made, in my opinion. Would it be in my top? We'll have to do a top 10 episode movies. One episode, I think. Or we'll break it down weekly or something. Now, I did leer to some other topics this past week. We'll get back to the energy bubble we have started creating earlier this week, back on Sunday. I think that's a good way to positively start the week, roll into Monday, and we'll discuss building your own world and stuff. So we'll get through the Taco Tuesday as topping it off. And then Wednesdays is when we're going to kind of roll into some fun topics that really are just thought, for fun. Nothing too serious, maybe serious. It depends on how much you care about it or not, I suppose. And if you want to interact with me, hit me up on Twitter under SimplySuperDave. I don't care what you think about the platform. I've been on it for 12 plus years, so that is just the platform I use. So hit me up there, get on it, and pick a topic, get interactive, and we'll see where things go with the stream. The stream. I keep saying the stream, the podcast. I got to break that habit. So be there with me as I do it. Anyway, man, just so many thoughts this morning going through my head, but I love the idea of how movies were made as a child. And people like Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Richard Pryor himself, man, The Toy is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you've never seen that, it's on HBO Max. I don't want to shout out a certain streaming platform, but they're hard to find movies because you just can't find a streaming platform. They have all the movies based on contracts and money. They make sure that you need to have multiple streaming services to get your bases covered. It's brilliant planning, and my love-hate relationship for Hollywood it's at a teetering point here in my life, I have to admit. But, I still have that inner child love for movie making. So I do appreciate the good movies that I do come across, and it's insane because it's hard to pick out a really good movie that stands out for a generation these days because there are so many of them. And Blockbuster Dave hates that because it was great when you had a certain amount of movies coming out because you knew that people would really get into them and they would become iconic even more. But now it's like we're celebrating the same old movies from 30 years ago. I'm not knocking my classics or anything like that, but there needs to be new trend setting. No, I don't know. Maybe it's all been done. Who knows? But that's why I really have enjoyed the superhero movie thing, because it's different. I love Scorsese movies. I'm not knocking him at all. Good. Come on. But how many times am I going to watch another gangster film? I'm just saying it's nice to have a different selection. And without it, you couldn't appreciate watching Goodfellas again because you need the break. You know what I'm saying? It's a good balance. I think the superhero thing was a great thing to live through for me because my inner comic book child that used to sit in my grandmother's bed when he was 5 years old reading Star Wars, and getting to go see the movie in the theaters and remember seeing an X-Wing fighter on the screen for the first time as a child, and that imagination just blew my mind. I wasn't even fucking 5, I don't think, by that time. But by 7, it was still in the theaters, I think. It was crazy how long Star Wars ran. But it's a big influence in my life. And that's why I associate my life with the Force and why I try to stay positive. Don't give in to that Sith side, because all hate does is bring a lot of fear into your life. And then the next thing you know, your whole life is negative, So you got to find a way to control that force that you have, because everybody has it. And that's your connection to, everybody. And I shared some things on Facebook. If you do want to follow me on Facebook, SimplySuperDave is the way to find me. I do share more personal stuff there. Well, personal, but more detailed stuff, like what I think and stuff like that. Like, I find a lot of articles I find interesting, so I share my opinion about it, blah, blah, blah. Nothing personal like what I ate for dinner or what my family's doing. Facebook is not that platform for me anymore. MySpace was the real last personal platform in my lifetime. Facebook started that way, but then became a corporate media conglomerate thing, just like everything else. But it has the best integration of videos, music, basically everything. So I know a lot of people bitch about Facebook, but at the same time, they're bitching about it because they're on it. I'm sorry, but everybody thinks Elon Musk is an idiot, but that's everybody's talking about Twitter because Elon Musk owns it and what he's doing. Whether it's controversial or not, that's the Howard Stern way of becoming famous. You just do your thing and push their buttons, because usually the haters are going to listen 10 times more than the supporters will. And I hate to knock the supporters like that, but it's true. If you get someone on your ass that disagrees with what you got to say, they'll find a group, pay them. Remember our paid protesters we talked about, and the next thing you know, you have like a mercenary group of internet gang, like ruining your whole life, trying to it's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. It really is. I almost question everything that happens now. Like, I don't even know anymore. What fascinates me, and I shared something on Facebook this morning about a ball of yarn that was solidified, to a rock, basically, from like almost 6,000 years ago. And I just wanted to make the point that I love looking at life like, everything that you know, just because something new is introduced or you're able to look past what you know, doesn't mean that you have to forget what you believe in. You can expand on it. Everybody gets scared because something new is introduced, or you could look at life differently, but they're like, well, that goes against. Nah, ignore all that scary bullshit. Embrace the good things about things that you come across that work for you, and integrate it, and let the bad stuff go. Because life is so beyond any religion that has ever been written down. So if you have to believe in a God and a creation, you have to believe from the true beginning before we ever understood what a beginning was. So my beliefs go beyond religion. I believe in God over religion, and my God is energy. And I want to pass what I have positive energy in me onto you with my words. And if anybody can pick that up and make it work for them in their moment, their universe, their bubble, I feel good about myself. Like, I achieved my purpose on the planet, Like, there's no amount of money that could satisfy the feeling of knowing that I could encourage someone to take things that I think to the next level, that even once I'm gone, that positive vibe, that ripple effect continues throughout every multiverse bubble that it can reach. And that's how I want to be remembered. I have never been steady in anyone's life throughout my entire life. And I have a lot of friendships and people that I have attached myself to throughout my life. And the one that has changed and meant the most to me, I'm still with. And I'm blessed by that. But every other connection I've ever had, regardless of the time gap in between, whenever I come across people that I have ever shared a chunk of my life with, roommates, friends, exes, I don't care, enemies even, past enemies. I always love those, because then you just feel like a little bit more calm and peace in your life that's been dealt with. And it always ends with a little love and laughter. And it conquers all that past hate and fear. And once you do that, you become a conqueror and not a victim. Happy Hump Day!